That is my fucking basketball team, and that is my fucking point guard. Welcome to the Knicks Film School Postgame Show presented by BetUS. Boy, oh boy, this is starting to remind me a lot of last season or the last few seasons where, more like 2 seasons ago, where the Knicks, they racked up wins, but we got to January and we were looking around, we're like, man, does this team have any quality wins? And then one by one, they started racking them up. And the same thing happened this year. And then over the last few weeks, really, it's all been recent. It's all been recent. Last 2-3 weeks, you want to go to the start of the 5-game winning streak. For some, that might be where this really started. That's fine. One by one, racking up a dominant win over a really good team because you win it on defense. You got that. Rack up a really good win against another really good team with an MVP caliber player. And you beat them mano a mano in the fourth quarter. We got that done. And now tonight, and I feel like I've said this 3 or 4 times over the last, again, couple of weeks, I think you could make an argument that this was the biggest win of the season for the Knicks. Because the only win, I would say, the only win that they have not gotten, other than maybe a win against an elite team playing really well. And it's not that many elite teams, so you're not going to have many opportunities to do that. We'll see if we can maybe get one on Saturday. But I digress. But I would say the biggest box for a lot of Knicks fans, especially Knicks fans who fell in love with last year's team, the biggest box that they wanted checked, that they needed checked before they could fully believe in this team, in this edition of the Knicks, after all the changes that they've made. And boy, oh boy, some of those changes looked interesting at times tonight. But by the end of the evening, you got as gritty, gutty, grimy. I'm trying to think what other G words I'm forgetting. I mean, it was ghastly at times, but as big a win as you could possibly imagine in this league, given the opponent. And I don't know that there is another player in the league that I would trust to put forth that kind of effort against a Houston Rocket defense that is, I'll double check and see where they rank right now in the league. It's pretty high up there, though. To lead them on that level of comeback, there might be 2 or 3 players, maybe 2, 3, 4 players. It's not a very long list, you know. And for Jalen Brunson to do what he just did, and it wasn't just the second half, it wasn't just the fourth quarter. It was the entire second half. For him to lead them, make every big shot, make every big play. He even made the biggest play on defense of the game, stonewalling Amin Thompson when that guy was having one of the games of his life in an MSG game that he will never forget. That's an MVP performance. Again, I feel like I've been saying that a lot over the last few weeks. It was as MVP a performance as you were ever going to get. And I never got a chance to watch Clyde, never got a chance to watch Willis Reed. I remember Patrick Ewing towards the tail end of his career. I've never watched a Knick that could do what Jalen Brunson just did in the second half of that game, and in particular in the fourth quarter, against one of the best, nastiest, most physical defenses in the entire league. They're ranked 4th in the league, but like really, like I'm sorry, they could do some things, and you could argue. And I look, we could talk about the players who didn't play in this game. No Van Vliet, no Sengun, obviously no Jabari Smith. That's what's got this whole Thompson thing started, because it allowed Thompson to enter into the starting lineup, and it kind of seems like it may have changed the trajectory of you know, his, I don't want to say of his career, but opened a lot of eyes around the league to what he could be. You could argue that because Sengun was out, that tonight their defense was actually a lot stronger, because as much as Sengun is able to function as a part of their defense, he's not a strong defender. And Van Vliet, he is a strong defender. He's still a guy that if he was in there, I think you would have seen an extra guy for Brunson at least to bring into actions. He didn't really have that guy tonight. So I would argue that the challenges to try to make that comeback and score, again, it's unfathomable to say that the Knicks scored 46 points in a fourth quarter against the Houston Rockets. And yet that is exactly what they did. I'd never in a million years thought that game was headed in that way, especially since for long stretches of that game, for the vast majority of that game, certainly in the first half. And we could talk about the spacing. We could talk about the decision that Tom Thibodeau made to start Precious Achiuwa over Deuce McBride. We could talk about all those things. And we could talk about the decision, obviously, to go with Deuce McBride for pretty much the entirety of the fourth quarter and how big of a difference that made. Be very interesting to see who Tom decides to start moving forward. I understand why he started Precious Achiuwa. I don't know if I agreed with it or disagree with it, but I definitely understood why. But the Knicks offense, when they were down by 8 in this game, it felt like they were down by 18. And a big reason for that, I think, was Karl-Anthony Towns' struggles throughout the first 3 quarters of this game, especially. And I just, for as much as this is going to be a Jalen Brunson postgame, and it should absolutely be a Jalen Brunson postgame because there is only one Jalen Brunson, and they obviously don't win this game without him. This was a team win, and they win. And you heard Jalen Brunson say it. As I have to get my dog from under this desk because she's chewing on my charging wire, and we're not gonna have a postgame if I don't get her. Hang on. Here, she can say hi. There we go. Maddie's gonna say hi after that win. It was a team win. And like if you look up and down, like look, OG Anunoby, this is their first game without him. We could talk about how long he's going to be out. I'm sure that's going to be a topic that's going to come up tonight. I was personally, and I don't trust anything the Knicks PR or Tom Thibodeau says as far as I could throw any of them. But the fact that, like, I don't know, I took what Tib said tonight as an indication that this was not maybe going to be a necessarily a weeks-long injury. We'll see if that's naive of me. But it's not that, like, OG Anunoby is incredibly important to this team. And missing him, you saw it tonight. And you saw it tonight in, well, who are we going to play? We're either going to play Precious Achiuwa, which makes our life on offense a lot more difficult, especially when our do-everything center is going through it right now. And that's the real thing of it. It's not that it's Precious in there. It's that Precious is in there, and you got Towns not himself. So the combo of those two things, it really kind of makes life more difficult, which is why you needed big-time performances from all of your other guys, and I'll get to them in a moment. But it's the loss of OG making everybody else have to step up and play significant minutes. So tonight, for instance, you had Precious Achiuwa. I'm going to guess he played 35 minutes tonight. I'm going to look right now. 34. I was close. Precious Achiuwa with 34 minutes. And then everybody else kind of pretty much slots in where, you know, where they're supposed to be. Deuce McBride, 26 minutes. Obviously, a lot of massive ones in the fourth quarter. Campaign 11, Huck 48, Landry Shamet 6, mostly forgettable minutes. We'll see if his minutes continue after the trade deadline. And then, yeah, some of your starters had to go a little extra. Towns 39, Bridges 39, Josh Hart 40, and Brunson, of course, a big 37 minutes. 14 to 17 from the field, 42 points, 10 assists. Pretty freaking incredible stuff. Mikal Bridges, massive game from him. Josh Hart, massive game from him. Hart ended up with 19 and 8. His impact was bigger than that. When the Knicks were making their push in the third quarter, him and Bridges and Brunson, it really was the three of them. And they had to wait until the fourth quarter to get a big Karl-Anthony Towns, a couple of big Karl-Anthony Towns moments. And again, they don't win this game without those big Karl-Anthony Towns moments. So yeah, there's going to be questions about which way they go from here on in terms of, again, the lineup, figuring out what they do with OG out. Again, I'm just going to say it. I totally got the decision, even if I may not have gone that direction, because you look at the team you're playing tonight, you look at Houston, and you can say, yeah, well, the best way to beat Houston is to space them out as much as possible. That's easy to say. And then you're left battling under the boards with undersized players, and you're left. And the other part of it is this Houston team does not shoot well. They shot well tonight. This Houston team generally does not shoot well. That's not a strength of theirs. 28.6% from three tonight, but they hit the big ones when they needed to stick around in this game. They are like as good a dribble drive team and as good a penetration team as you will see. And they just keep coming at you. And if you lack some size, it could get dicey because there's no better offensive rebounding team in the entire league. And sure enough, tonight, what did the Rockets do? They got a whole bunch of offensive rebounds, and it made the game probably closer than it should have. 20 offensive rebounds for the Rockets. So, look, the Knicks overcame a lot tonight. Jalen Brunson, in particular, overcame. Like, when you look at all the defenders that they could throw at him, and not a single one by the end of the night, not a single one had a chance to stop him. Tari Eason, give me what you got. Thompson, give me what you got. Dylan Brooks, give me what you got. Aaron Holiday, give me what you got. You know, Cam Whitmore, Jalen Green, go on down the line. Didn't matter. Did not matter who they threw in front of him. It was a virtuoso tour de force, born to play basketball-esque performance from the captain. And they needed every bit of it. Going to go through some other specifics here about that game. Just some plays that I thought, like, because, again, that's the sort of game that deserves going through. I thought one of the biggest moments of the game, and not in a good way, midway through the fourth quarter, Aaron Holiday hit that massive three after the Knicks had been battling, and brought the lead back up to 6. At that moment, I was like, I just didn't think that they were going to make it happen. And then shortly thereafter, there was the Knicks defense got a steal. And then shortly after that, Jalen Brunson had a finish. And then at the other end, drew an offensive foul. And then after that, I don't know that I could. No, it's the runner-up for the autograph signature moment of the game. Because what do we beg Karl-Anthony Towns to do? What do we beg him to do when they play these teams that guard him with a small player? Use your physicality, use your skill, be patient. And he had some of those opportunities tonight, did not convert them. Again, he's not really himself right now. He got a chance against Dylan Brooks. Not only got that basket, but got the hoop and the harm, ended up making the free throw, and the Knicks finally took the lead. You felt like they needed to take a lead. Didn't keep the lead. And from there, it was a back and forth. And then the Brunson barrage was really on. I'm going to give the autograph signature moment of the game, obviously, to the Jalen Brunson. Absolutely get everybody out of your seats and just start praising this man. Three-pointer, step back to make it 118 to 114. It was the first moment where you looked at it and you're like, oh, my God, they might actually win this game. Because I'm not sure until that moment that I really believe they were going to be able to pull it off. And Brunson, and just like the entire team, and again, it's one of the bugaboos of this team, when they play these types of defenses, it always seems like, what's the thing to go? The three-point shot is the thing to go. And tonight, 26 attempts from three for the Knicks, only 6 makes. That was Jalen Brunson's only make. He was 0-3 before that. And it was obviously the biggest make of the game. But again, give credit where credit is due. This Rocket team, I looked it up as I was watching the fourth quarter, cleaning the glass. They are top 2. I think they might be number 1, but definitely top 2. And it's them in Orlando in terms of opponent frequency, limiting opponent frequency of three-point shots. So the fact that the Knicks only took 26 threes tonight, or attempted 26 threes tonight, that is not an uncommon occurrence for this Houston team. That is their specialty. They get up on you, and what makes them so amazing is they're able to get up on you, and then they're able to rotate and help and recover, and they're so long and they're so fast and they have so much energy that they don't really compromise their ability to protect the rim. And you saw that tonight, and they did an amazing job of it. The fact that the Knicks won yet another game in which they failed to hit at least a third of their threes. I've cited this stat a few times already. They only won 6 of those games all of last year. This is already their 8th such win this season. So for as much as we want to talk about this team does not win the gritty games that last year's team won. They already have 2 more wins, such wins this season than they did in all of last season. So that's a great sign. You love to see that. And then just continuing to make all the big plays down the stretch. The Brunson defensive play on Thompson was amazing. A couple of dicey moments there. Brunson maybe foul hunting, on those 2 late possessions. They live to tell the tale. That's something he will learn from and grow from, and the whole thing. Couple other things. Mentioned Hart's hustle. Mikal Bridges twisting his ankle and staying in, hitting the free throw, and not looking like he skipped a beat on defense from that moment forward. Give Mikal Bridges his due on defense, because that guy got put through the ringer by the Rockets. And like Steven Adams, man, you want to talk about a brick shithouse? I mean, there is no better screen setter in the league than Steven Adams. And for every one of the 26 minutes he was out there, he was an absolute freaking beast. It is no coincidence that the Rockets were a plus 18 in Steven Adams' 26 minutes in a game that they lost by 6 points. That's Steven Adams for you. That's why Steven Adams, as long as he could stand up straight, he will have a job in the NBA, because of his ability to set up offensive players, because of his ability to offensive rebound. And he's just skilled enough, on the offensive end to keep you honest. So anyway, yeah, great stuff. Mikal Bridges shooting those free throws and dealing with all of those screens throughout the entire night. What else could we say? The blown call on the 3-point shot was annoying. It felt like it was really massive in the moment. It felt like that was one of those things, because it came, and that's really when I thought the game turned, not in the Knicks' favor, in Houston's favor. Was in the third quarter, where the Knicks had battled all the way back. I think they took it was either a 3 or a 4-point lead there in the middle of the third quarter. And then Houston, after a 10-0 run, and Houston just goes on this massive run, this 14-2 run, 17-4 run. And that 3-pointer where the refs missed the travel, it actually gave them the lead. It was just such a big momentum play. But again, you could look at a lot of momentum swings in this game that went in Houston's favor. And I think earlier in this season, this Knicks team, I don't know that they would have been able to respond to those punches. Tonight, they did. And I don't know if it's because they've had enough about hearing about they're not tough enough, or they're not good enough, or they can't win these games. Whatever it is, this team overcame an 0-9 start from deep tonight. The team overcame shooting under 33% in the first quarter. They missed, I think, 11 to 12 shots at one point in the first into the second quarter. I mean, this was a brutal game at times. This was an absolutely brutal game at times. And they found a way to the win, and they found a way to win because of their MVP. So all the credit in the world to a leader that we are all blessed to watch. I certainly feel he is one of one. And just really, really thanks, Jalen. That's all I have to say is thank you.